North Korea is expected to hold the largest military parade in its history this Saturday. It will mark 75 years since the country's Workers' Party was created. That's the ruling communist regime. Thousands of soldiers have been practicing for months. Many believe the event will likely feature missiles and new weaponry. The anniversary comes just weeks ahead of the U.S. election. President Trump made talks with North Korea a focal point of his first term. They started in 2018 with leader Kim Jong-un about denuclearization. However, those negotiations broke down last year, and Kim has continued to test ballistic missiles. For more on all of this, let's bring in CBSN contributor Isaac Stonefish. He's a senior fellow at the Asia Society Center on U.S.-China Relations. Isaac, as I mentioned, this parade marks the 75th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party. But there were also other promises that Kim made looking forward to this event with his 5-year plan about the status that he was going to bring North Korea to. So tell us a little bit more about what this celebration represents and how much Kim is actually meeting those benchmarks, the current status of North Korea.
Just like for leaders around the world, North Korea's Kim Jong-un has had a very difficult time in giving his people what he promised, and especially so because of how just shambolic North Korea's economy is. Kim Jong-un, the son and the grandson of North Korea's two previous leaders, has promised some level of economic prosperity. But North Korea is such a closed and poorly run country that he has certainly not been able to deliver. And in terms of where things are for North Korean people today, it's been grim for a long time, and we have very little information on what's actually going on in the country these days, but it's almost certainly grimmer than it's been in several years.
And tell us a little bit more about the significance of this imagery. As you and I both know, North Korea in particular places a lot of stock on these anniversaries. Tell us why this celebration is in particular so important.
This is the 75th anniversary of the founding of the Workers' Party of Korea, which in North Korean mythology or propaganda is the institution that saved the Koreans not only from the dastardly Japanese, but from the dastardly Americans and the people around the world that want to harm the pure-blooded, pure race of the Korean people. And this is a way in Kim Jong-un's mind and in many North Koreans' mind to celebrate the sort of the strength and I'm trying to think of a better word than purity, but it is really just this idea that this is a party that makes the North Korean people who they are on sort of a holy level. So it's a cause both for the regime to celebrate itself and also to show North Korean people, this is how we're defending you from those hostile foreign forces.
And a staple of these parades, always missiles, weaponry. What do we expect that we'll actually see on Saturday?
I think we might see bigger ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, than we've seen before. Really what a lot of U.S. analysts are going to be looking for is weapons or delivery systems that makes it more likely for the North Koreans to be able to launch a nuclear weapon that either gets close to the United States or could potentially hit the United States. It's important to remember that South Korea is on the border of North Korea, and North Korea already has enough conventional weaponry to decimate Seoul and do a lot of damage to South Korea. But what analysts around the world, and especially the United States, are looking at are, does North Korea have the ability to really launch nuclear weapons or even some potentially more conventional weapons outside of the Korean Peninsula?
And it's not purely coincidental that we are just weeks away from the U.S. presidential elections. How much is that factoring into this show of force, Isaac?
Kim Jong-un certainly is aware that people in the White House are going to be watching this parade and watching the satellite imagery very closely. In the past, there have been American journalists or other outside onlookers at the parade. This year, there might be as few as 0 in the country at the time because of the coronavirus lockdown. But the North Koreans are very savvy at the way that they play U.S. politics, and there may or may not be an October surprise. We don't need any more October surprises as a country, but North Korea hates to be ignored, and we certainly could see something either tomorrow or in the coming weeks where Kim Jong-un says, hey, Trump, remember me? We were talking. We're not. I deserve to have a seat at the table.
All right, Isaac Stonefish, thank you.
Thank you.